We are not live at the 405. Don't even go there.
You're gonna punch me in the face.
As Sean would say, we are in the 405.
No, we
and
are.
we are alive, but we're not live in the 405.
But we are alive.
We are alive, yeah.
Alive. Okay. Sounds good. Are
So,
we on?
so you got all these tough questions you're going to ask me?
I don't have tough questions. I just want to be informative. I haven't seen you in a long time. How long has it been?
A few months.
A few months. It seems longer than that.
Now, I did an interview. How old was that kid? 8 years old?
Oh man, that was great.
Boy, this kid was hammering me.
He was like
He's going,
8 or
so,
10.
he's like, so, what's the deal with you and Chief? And I'm sitting there going, well, you know, I can't lie. So, oh, he asked me some good ones. He asked me some good questions. Oh, yeah, he had me on the ropes.
Were you sweating?
No,
You're cool as a cucumber.
I'm not going to get excited about that because everybody knows how I think about it on video anyway. But to be questioned by an 8-year-old, was that about how old he was?
He was about 8 or 10,
8.
and he was fabulous.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he
I mean,
was
his kid's
ready.
pro about it.
Was
And
it?
his battery, he goes, oh, I'm sorry, my battery. I said, hey, go charge your battery up and come back. And his dad told him, quit bothering that man. I said, hey, dude, you're not bothering me. I said, I had a good time with it. You'll have to watch the video. It's pretty. He's got his own YouTube channel.
He
And that's
did.
what he's wanting to do is boost
What's
his YouTube.
his YouTube channel?
I'll look it up.
I look it up. Well, I want to start off with just basically, I want to know stuff. What I want to know is, are you coming back to No Prep Kings?
Absolutely.
You are coming back,
I am for sure coming back, yeah.
100%.
100%.
What are you coming back with? Because we know that you know,
say it.
rest in
You
peace.
say it.
I don't want to say it, but
You
rest
say
in
it.
peace. Your old car was such an iconic car. Love it or hate it, people knew that car.
No, everybody loved the car. It's love or hate me. Everybody loved the car. Nobody ever said, man, that car's fucking. They all loved the car. It was me they had to decide whether they loved or hated.
But the car was an extension of you. Like, it had your attitude. It blew up a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
It
it
was
ran
unpredictable.
fast sometimes. It was consistent, inconsistent. It was just a wild card. And it's sort of, you're kind of in that mix. You know what I mean? I don't know what you're going to do next. That's why I want to know, in No Prep Kings.
I didn't know what that fucking car was going to do next either.
Oh my God. So you don't know what car you're coming back
Oh,
with.
I'm coming back with my brand new car.
What is your
So-
brand new car?
Before we lost Reaper in the fire, I was building Reaper 2, the new Reaper.
Yeah.
Brantley calls it Red Reaper.
Red Reaper.
Yeah, because when I asked him, I said, hey, you want to go down and help me paint the car? He goes, what color are we painting? Painting it black. He goes, Papa, you have a black Reaper, you need a Red Reaper.
A Red Reaper.
Yeah, because to Brantley, everything in the world should be red.
Oh.
Everything. Everything should be red. That's the only color. Well, now he's got a little bit of, he likes blue a little bit now.
Blue now.
But he actually helped me mix the paint.
Oh, cool.
He helped me jam the car in. There's even a video where he was actually painting the door jambs on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was, and I had the car almost done, and this is a super, super light car I was building.
Wow.
Because I wanted to take advantage of running a big block Chevrolet. Everybody else runs a Hemi.
Yeah.
And the big thing is, shockingly, everybody wants to run a Pro Charger.
Why do you think people have taken out the twin turbo setups and gone straight to Pro Charger?
Because Pro Charger is easier.
In terms of what? Consistency or
No.
keeping the engine alive?
No,
or-
no. I mean, I'm choosing my words carefully because I want to be right and fair about it. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. So, Pro Charger's like a nitrous car, instantaneous power.
Yeah.
So, in no prep, the starting line gets good, the 300 feet gets good, out back it gets sketchy. Where's the turbo car run? Out back.
Yeah.
So when Pro Charger, when it finally came around that the 140, which even Pro Charger has to admit, a big part of them coming up with that 140 was all the shit that we went through helping test that 140, which started with a 143 and then went down to a 140. So at the end of the day, the Pro Charger came around, the Pro Charge Hemi stuff came around,
Yeah.
people started doing really well with it. So Here's the thing in the racing world that a lot of people don't see. It's all monkey see, monkey do.
It is. It really is.
If Ryan Martin goes out with a 481X and does well, everybody wants a 481X. If Ryan goes out and does well with whoever is winning at the time, whatever that combination is, that's what everybody wants to run because they went fast with it. So evidently anybody can go fast with it.
Wow. Well, as people may or may not know, I'm the race coordinator at No Prep Kings, and what I've seen all the races throughout the whole season up to this point, and what I've seen.
Here's what people don't know. When I started into No Prep, this is the man I started with. When I met Mike, I was No Prep Racing before the TV show and all of that, and he came over to me and he had all this enthusiasm and he's fired up and he loves the car, and Mike and I became friends, and when we started into this whole No Prep deal together, we started together. It was Mike and I that started doing all this stuff. My races, all of it, NPK, all that stuff.
We've had a lot of journeys together. That's putting it lightly, but like what you say that, yeah, it is monkey see, monkey do. Even in the street scene, I have a daily driver that I modify, and I see a combination on a magazine. I'm going to follow that combination if I want to run that particular number. Now, in NPK, what I've seen personally myself is there is a lot of people running Pro Charger, but there is an influx of roots and roots type of blowers as well. And
Once again, instantaneous power.
And nitrous. Kai Kelly
Instantaneous power.
has gone to the finals a couple times, and Kai Kelly is looking incredible this season.
You know, Larry Larson and I were talking second year of No Prep,
Yeah.
and he said, you know, he goes, what do you think the car is going to be that people aren't going to see coming? And I said, they get one really good nitrous tuner. A really, really good nitrous. If Monty Smith was alive, I'd still be running nitrous.
Yeah. No, I believe that.
Because a really good, and I mean, I followed Musey, Pat Musey. I followed him. Hell, I remember back when we ran that Popeye car.
Oh, the green
Yeah.
Firebird.
And the thing is, nitrous is instantaneous. Roots cars are instantaneous. Screw cars are instantaneous. Pro Charger cars. So the short times are really good. And in No Prep, short times where it's at. Because you're not going to run that big mile an hour at back. But still, no power adder will make the power of a twin turbo, except a screw.
Yeah. That's interesting to
So
know.
nitrous, Pro Charger will never out horsepower a twin turbo car.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing that does not change in the racing world. Whether it's street racing, No Prep racing, radio racing, it's called coefficient of drag of the tire versus the surface it's on.
You know, could you explain what in essence does that mean? Is it the weight to power ratio or the applied power to the
It's
surface?
how much power you can apply to that tire, to that surface, and make the car go.
Yeah. And you're saying anything that gives you instant torque right off the line and the ability to control it.
You can control it better. That's exactly right. Here's the thing with a turbo car, and I've had turbo cars. I've got turbo cars. I
You
just built
do.
the 56 twin turbo Vet. I had my twin turbo Nova, twin turbo Corvette, another twin turbo Vet. I was running turbochargers before I was running anything, even before I ran nitrous.
Never knew
Had,
that.
had a 78 Chevy pickup that my dad and I built. Had a 305 with a Ray J 76 millimeter turbo on it.
Wow, a 305.
Yeah, 305.
How much power did it make?
We have no idea, but I know when it went to 32 pounds of boost one day, it literally lifted the heads up, squirted the gaskets out. My dad said, ah. So, but turbochargers, you always had the problem with turbos back in the day.
Yeah.
They wouldn't spool fast.
Yeah.
Well, they've overcame all that. Now turbos will instantly spool, but it's not a linear, smooth power.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot more tuning, a lot more time, a lot more different. You have to control it more ways, where if you got a Pro Charger car, a Roots car, you know, those two you can control with timing.
Okay. Well,
Nitrous car you can tune with timing and stages.
on this Red Reaper, what engine combination are you going with?
I am going to go with the exact same combination that was in Reaper.
Is it the same motor or just the same
Actually,
combination?
the it's one of the motors that I ran in Reaper. The other motor, actually, when they hit it with the water, it split the block in two,
Interesting.
right down the middle. But everything out of it, we just replaced the blocks, what we did.
So this block and all the engine build is, what company are you using?
Scott Duggan's, Par Race Engines.
Par Racing from the
Yeah.
East Coast.
Yes.
He
South
does amazing
Carolina.
work, actually.
Yes, he does. And when it comes to now, he's got to spend. Scotty's probably got the fastest Pro Charge cars out there. And well, his car is 2,550 pounds, 588 cubic inch, conventional headed big block Chevrolet with a blow-through carburetor, runs 380s.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What's also interesting is before the season, you and Brent Austin were probably one of the few people actually running a big block Pro Charger combination at the time.
I gave Brent Austin his first Pro Charger.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. F1R.
Wow, that's really
F1R. Back
interesting.
when we first met, he was a big nitrous guy. Actually, Brent was blown alcohol.
Yeah.
Was his ace number one, and the fuck guy's badass with it. Second choice of nitrous. I had F1R that came off of LT1 Camaro I had. I told him, hey, you got to try this, and he put it on a Mustang. A little fucking Mustang went out there and run with just a bone stock LS with a camshaft.
Yeah.
Went like 580s,
Wow.
something like that. And yeah, that's what got Brent started with Pro Chargers.
That's really interesting to know. So this Red Reaper, you're going with a Pro Charge combination. I also noticed that you're using some type of really unique power management. What was that power management system you're going to use on the Red Reaper?
Timing.
Just playing with the timing.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no traction control on it.
You don't use any traction control,
No.
though. So how do you control it? You just drive through it, or just?
Timing. The whole race, Travis Quillen, one of the smartest guys on a big tire car
Absolutely, yeah.
ever. I don't care who it is. That guy can make shit sub 160 foot that nobody else can. And that's where Reaper always had an advantage over most of the cars out there. That car would sub 160 foot at every racetrack. I mean, 990s, then it went to 980s. You remember when we stuck it on radials? Won a 982, 984, 60 foot, and set radio versus the world. They're like, how the fuck did he do that? And let me tell you something, radials are a lot easier to deal with than them big tires are.
Why is that?
Because that radial, you have to dead hook that radial and apply power.
Yeah.
A big tire, there's so many other factors that go into a big tire. If you remember in South Carolina, when I had the D's Nuts car, first round I raced Birdman.
Yeah.
And if you watch that footage, you'll see Travis is standing behind the car. He's standing to the side of the car. He looks up. He watches the tire make one revolution. It's fucking slow and walks off. Never even watches the rest of my pass.
How does he know?
First rotation of the tire.
But how does he know if it's a good rotation or not?
First rotation of the tire, and that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Interesting.
I'm not giving that up to nobody.
Wow.
No.
You know,
That's something that Travis taught me, and after he taught me that, I can look at the back tire of the car and know whether the pass is good or not.
you've worked with some incredible people in the past.
Been pretty blessed.
You have Travis Quillen, Par Engines, Roadrunner has you've worked with them. A lot of great
Monty
companies.
Smith. Monty Smith
Monty
was like
Smith as well.
there's very few guys that are front to the back tuners. Monty Smith was one of them. Travis Quillen's one of them. Steve Petty.
Yeah.
I love shit out of Steve Petty. Steve Petty watches my videos.
Does he really?
I like shit out of Steve. But I mean the good tuners, the guys that can work on that car from the front to the back, that's what makes the difference.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to get to, is the fact that all these great companies back you. You have years of knowledge, years of experience that most people who are into racing or barely get into racing don't have. This time around, who is going to be in your corner helping you with the Red Reaper?
Here was the game changer with Reaper.
What's that?
So, Nick and Rich Bruder.
I actually saw them racing your car at Thunder Valley on a random TNT night. I was there and it was amazing.
Funny thing is, the guy that sets the rules for X275, John
John Sears?
Sears.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so I I met Nick and Rich through, of course, Bill Atomizer, Jack French.
Yeah.
And what attracted me to those guys, they changed rules to keep them from racing.
Yeah, that was strange.
Somebody else does it. I've dealt with that a time or two. Changed the rules to keep me from racing. So when Nick and Rich, this is something nobody knows. When I pulled Reaper off the list, I had just had it at Thunder Valley with the nitrous motor in it.
Yeah.
With the pump gas nitrous motor. Pump gas nitrous motor. Car just went 420s.
Wow.
Which at that time, and I was like six or seven on the list, and I built a D's Nuts car. So I show up to race night, and I was told are you going to bring the new car? I said, yes. Then don't go back up the list with Reaper. I said, you shit me. It just went 420s. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
From production, it doesn't make sense. Why, if you got Reaper lined out, why would you bring a new car? That's the night I pulled the car off the list. Said, I can't deal with it no more. The car, Travis Quillen's actually who found the problem with that car when we were at Beach Bend.
Okay.
After the Beach Bend race, Travis goes, it makes absolutely no sense. This car shouldn't ever go. It does what it shouldn't do. It does the opposite of what everything. If a car makes a lot of power, it's going to try to drive to the right. So you change it to make the car go to the left. Well, this car may go left one time, right the next time. And on my data log, because for the first 3 years that I raced Reaper, I had no data log, no data system at all.
Yeah.
I had old school timers, buttons. there was nothing. It was about as caveman as you get. Back when the car would run, it would run 460s, 470s when I first brought it out.
Back then, that's pretty fast, though.
Yeah. So I had started, everybody told me when I put a race pack in the car, as long as you start your data at the same point.
Yeah.
Some people start it by drive shaft, some people start it by the G meter. Well, I'm thinking in my head, from the time you turn loose that trans brake button, electrical current has to move, fluid has to move, all this other stuff has to happen. So I started mine by the drop of the timing.
Oh, wow.
Because when I turned loose that button, when that timing dropped, I knew everything else was in motion. Well, that's a problem. Because Travis backed it up and went by the drive shaft, and the car on the wheel speed, it went 74, 074, 074, 275.
Wow.
So what it was doing was it was sticking the tire for a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
For a tenth of a second, the tire went flat, didn't move, and then it would stretch the tire out like a rubber band, and boing, it may go right, it may go left, depending on which tire grabbed harder and which tire, how it flung the car.
And that's the thing about big tire cars, wherever it's pointed, that's where it's going. It's not like a small tire car where you could just modulate a little bit, drive through it, and kind of like wiggle your way to the finish line. A big tire car is very unforgiving.
We stayed at Beach Bend, the whole next day. Travis took it back, started at the move of the drive shaft.
Yeah.
And we took less timing out of it, got it up on top of the tire. Once we got it up on top of the car was kicking ass. It was doing really good. But it didn't make sense, so I pulled the car. And I was coming with the D's Nuts car. So when Nick and Rich came on, we were putting Reaper back together. And I told Nick and Rich, I said, I'm handing you the best working 60-foot car, short time car in any of this stuff.
Yeah.
This car does amazing shit when it leaves right. Now everybody thinks it's a pile of shit because that's the way I played it on TV.
Yeah.
Because that made sense at the time to me. The first, we got the 540 in it with a 136. First time I turned loose the button, we went 100 feet. It went a 102 60 foot. Nick Greer, come on, look at that, bud. 102. I said, yeah, you got to get after it a little harder because usually it'll sub one.
Wow.
What? He said, what? I said, it'll sub one. So that was what started the whole deal with Nick and Rich.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I told Nick, I said, you can do anything to this car you want. Don't touch my 4-link. Don't touch my shocks. Other than that, anything you want to do.
Yeah.
And we did. We changed a lot of things on it, but that's the two things that never changed in that car. one time, strange struts are backwards from every other strut. So to loosen them up, you go the opposite way of Sandhuff or Penske's or anybody else's. And one day, Monty and I were testing the car, and Monty kept thinking they were Sandhuffs.
Oh,
And kept,
he's going it the opposite way.
oh yeah, and it loosened the car up, shook the tires so bad, broke both the doors, split axle bearings, all kinds of shit. But it didn't know it at the time and started changing the 4-link.
Yeah.
It took me almost 5 months to get that car back where it was
Damn.
because I never wrote down where everything was at.
Yeah.
So when Nick and Rich came on, went and tested the car was fast, and we just kept going faster and faster and faster.
So this time around in No Prep Kings, I know you personally. You don't like to do something unless you think you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
You have a winning mentality. You do not quit until you reach your goal, and no matter how bad the consequences are, you will try to get to that goal. You will push that car. I've seen you push that car on 7 cylinders. I've seen you push that car on its last leg, and you're always striving for success. Now, this time around, what is different from the previous No Prep Kings that you feel is different?
And I've always told everybody, if you want to beat me, take my brothers.
Yeah.
The show did that.
Wow.
So when I didn't have them, it took us a long time to get together. Gerald used to back me up. And when he'd back me up, I'd be sitting in the car and I'd pick a place. Every racer does it. They pick a spot at the end of that track and that's what you drive to. Every time my spot, I felt like I was cocked in the car. So I would straighten the car up. And the car would go left.
Yeah.
All right, straighten the car up and it'd go right. And Gerald told me one time, he said, listen, either you trust that I've got you straight or do this yourself because you're turning the wheel every time. Before we went to Radio versus the World, we tore the car completely apart and redid it and found out that the seat was cocked 5/16 of an inch. So when I'm sitting in the car, I feel like I'm straight, but the seat was crooked in the car.
That's really interesting. There's a gymnast in the Tokyo Olympics this year that she can't really coordinate her senses anymore. She doesn't know if she's up or down in positioning. And then I know with big tire racing, positioning is key. It's a very very low key fact that people fans that don't really know. But the way you're positioned, and a lot of people feel like the people who are backing you up.
Oh, everybody's got a different opinion whether you're straight or not.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. The best teams have the best people doing it correct. And in your corner this year, who is that person?
That was the problem. I had other people that came and helped, but nobody knew race cars.
Yeah.
So I'm having to work on the car. Now Nick Bruder's tuned the car since it went Pro Charger.
Yeah.
Nick Bruder will still be tuning that car.
Wow.
But I was doing everything in between and having to double check the people that were helping me that really didn't know what they were doing. That's why all the fans would have to wait till I got through completely racing before I could spend any time with them. That's why sometimes I was out there till daylight.
Wow.
Interacting with the fans, because when I'm in race mode, I didn't have nobody. So the big difference this year is we got a super light car. It's brand new, that we built every aspect of the car. I have Tyree Smith from Titech Performance. Tyree is, one of Travis Quillen's best friends.
Is he really?
Yeah. And him and Travis have a lot of respect for each other, but I mean, he wins championships. Brewers win championships. He's going to crew the car. And he told me, he asked me, he said, hey, you ever going to go back to that? And I said, sure, you come work on the car and I'll go back. He goes, okay. I said, what? Would you really? He said, 3 conditions. He said, we have a spare everything. Spare motor, spare transmission, spare everything in the trailer. 2, he said, when we go, the car's ready to go. He said, 3, we have fun. If we meet those 3 conditions, I'll come crew the car.
Wow.
And he told me, he said, this is how it's going to be. When we roll that car out of the trailer,
Yeah.
he said, you go watch races. You hang out with your fans. You sign T-shirts. You kiss babies. You do whatever you want to do. When it's time for you to clock in, I will hand you your suit.
You've never had that before. You've always
Never.
worked on your car.
Never.
You don't let people touch your car very frequently. And in every race that I've seen you at, you have a line of fans actually at the very end of the event when it's completely nighttime, still hang around and you sign whatever they have and have full on conversations like the one we're having right now.
Yeah.
You're very easily accessible. Now you're saying you're gonna have more time.
All I'm gonna do is drive the car. He told me, I'll hand you your suit, you get in the car, you make the pass, you get out of the car. We get back to the pit, you go back doing your thing. I got the car.
That sounds like a solid team already.
That will be something, because I've rolled up there with guys that have helped me. One year, one of the guys, you have 2 sets of pins in the wheelie bars. You go to pin them up, you pick them up, when you go to load the trailer, stick the pins. They had it in the upper pins, they backed the set in the wheelie bars, and that's when the wheelie bar touched, it pushed me into the wall in the orange car, because the high man came out of it. So little stuff like that caused us major issues.
I mean, that's the thing about big tire racing. There's so many little stuff. It's almost impossible to keep track of every single thing to be completely consistent. You could look over a car.
You have to have a system.
Yeah.
The closest we ever came to having a system, well, matter of fact, when Nick and Rich Bruder came to, I don't know, the first races we did, wasn't it? Bristol.
Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
So when they came to Bristol, look what we did at Bristol.
Yeah, you went all the way to the semifinals, Final Four.
Well, if it had been a dick extender on a yellow car,
Yeah.
it'd been me and Brent in the final. Brent wouldn't outran that car that day.
Brett,
Brent's outran me a lot. He's the only guy that I've never been able to beat. But honestly, that day, that was our day.
yeah.
That was our day. And don't get me wrong, we were thrashing on that car
Yeah, no.
every
I follow
round.
you. Yeah.
But having those guys, now, of course, the Brooders have got Jack French's car, but Nick's still tuned. Even when when he's not there, he's still tuning that car.
Yeah.
So Nick will always tune the car. With Tyree taking care of the car, my brothers are going to come back.
Are they really? That's amazing news
Yeah.
right there. Because sometimes you need that advice that only brothers can give you. Like if you're messing up, they're the first to tell you. And
Oh no,
not
my little
sugarcoat
brother
it.
won't say nothing, but Gerald has no problem telling me, hey, you're fucking up, dude. You need to back off. You're fucking up. You need to stop. But he's one of the only people in my life that'll tell me that.
I don't know. Your little brother, he stands his ground. He tells me a lot of things that you should be doing. You know what I mean?
My little brother's turned into one of the baddest fabricators out there.
No, he
It's
does amazing work.
I mean, he built every stick of this car.
Yeah.
He bent all the tubing. It was down at Chassis Engineering, Clayton Murphy. They built that car down there. Chris did all the work, and it's an amazing car, dude. And this car's built. Everything around this car was built to be light.
That's what I think, not only for me, but fans respect you the most about you is the fact that you build stuff. You're not sending it to like a major chassis shop like Jerry Brinkle or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't afford it. Prior to contrary belief that everybody believes I'm rich, I spend every dime I make, Mike.
I've seen videos that say you're a millionaire. I don't know.
Really? I don't know. I checked on it last time, and I don't remember what was I worth last time on the deal.
Well, the last time I googled your net worth, you were worth several $1 million. And
Several
I don't-
million.
And Stacy goes, "Where's mine at?" And I said, "You're the reason I don't have it."
That's interesting.
That's why I was asking her. You take care of the money, so
But
where's all my
they also
multi-millions?
said that I'm the sugar mama. So
Really?
Did they?
I've seen that too.
I need a little bit more sugar.
You
They
need
didn't,
a-
But
they didn't
I-
realize this was sweet and low.
Yeah, that's right. It's a sugar substitute.
well, I mean,
That's the thing. I honestly don't have. I can't afford to go have Jerry Bickle build me a car for $350,000.
yeah.
So I mean, we built every bit of that car, and everything about that car. Everything's been done at either my shop or my brother's shop.
You know what? What people don't get to see is the behind the scenes at the Reaper shop. I've been there, and every time I'm there, James is literally has his hands on something on the car. It's not like he has like magical people come out of the heavens and work on your car.
I'm still looking for
them.
them L's.
Are you?
I'm still looking for them damn L's. Every time I open that toolbox, thinking one of them's hiding in there.
That's why I think that's where your experience and knowledge comes in. Now, people can argue the fact that you haven't been successful due to the fact that you haven't won an event. You've been close.
I haven't won an NPK. But,
An
but the last 4 races we went to with Reaper, we won all 4.
It looks.
I've won at MPK, but it was an Outlaw Big Tire.
That is correct. You have won an Outlaw Big Tire, which.
And we went to no prep races, San Antonio.
Oh, you won San Antonio that same year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right there at the end, we quit breaking stuff. I always get told nobody else breaks this. All parts manufacturers say that, you're full of shit. They just don't want everybody to know the shit breaks. But everything in a race car will break. And honestly, with Nick and Rich and me, we pushed every part to the limit because, I mean, think about it, dude. I got a big block Chevrolet, a real big block Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Not a billet, tricked out big block Chevrolet, but a big block Chevrolet. And I'm having to run against guys with Hemis and 481Xs and twin turbo cars. And, you know, we had to push that thing. We had to push it all that it was worth. So my idea is I can't get away from a big block Chevrolet. So I looked at the rules, I studied the rules, and if what people don't understand about building a light car, there are a lot of people that have asked me, why don't everybody run a big block Chevrolet if you can be that light? It is almost impossible to take a heavy car and make it light. But if you start building the car with the mindset of being light, it's way easier. And I actually took this from Andy Jensen.
Oh, wow. The master of being faster, or what's his name?
Seven of Power.
Yeah, he has.
He's an engine builder.
Really.
But he's got a car that he's got a twin turbo, single turbo,
Yeah.
small block Chevrolet that runs 370s.
Yeah. No, I've seen
But
the car.
everything with him is about being super light. And I called him and I said, because he's real good friends with Travis Quillen. And I said, Andy, how do you get one of these cars light? He said, well, you start by trying to take out all the pounds. When you got all the pounds, then you start looking for the ounces. When you're done with the ounces, then you gotta start looking for the grams. And when you're done with the grams, you should just keep looking for another gram.
But the thing about MPK is they have a minimum amount of weight that you're able to weigh.
Mm-hmm.
Because what fans may know or may not know is that after every run in No Prep Kings in a big tire class, they have to stop at the scales. They check the weight, and if they come under, you're automatically disqualified.
Right.
So what is the weight the bare minimum that you could weigh on this Red Reaper?
With the combination, I'm gonna run 2450.
2450. That is super light in the racing world. I mean, not the lightest.
Reaper weighed 2780 and ran 390s.
Is that the bare minimum, or could you weight lower than that?
No, how the weights start, they start with a base weight,
Okay.
and then you get deductions. So I get a deduction for running a 4.840 bore space motor under 585 cubic inches, cast block, cast heads, because my shit's not billet. Get a weight break for that. I'm not gonna say what tire I'm gonna run, but
Interesting.
everything was about, I built this whole entire car to be light to make that weight.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, it's one of the lightest real deal steel body 68 Camaros that anybody could have. It's got TMS titanium, helped us a bunch because this car's got a lot of titanium, a lot of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
It's super, super light. We'll have to add weight to the car to make weight.
I want to know why now. We're in race 7. This weekend is a race, an MPK race. It's race 7. You're not going to win the championship this year.
Nope.
Because we're way past we're at the halfway point. So it's impossible for you to make up that ground. But why now?
I never planned on coming back.
Interesting.
I never planned on coming back. Tyree started that ball roll. Actually, she started that ball roll. So when I lost the cars, I was done. Red Reaper went over in the corner, and it's a combination of the fans that follow my page, Stacy, Tyree, my little brother. It's all the people. Everybody else is more into me going back than I am, but I'm getting there.
Wow.
Because I've got a super light car. I have the nicest car that I've ever had. I mean, it's the nicest thing I've ever had. We have 3 motors, we have 3 transmissions, we have 2 converters, we have every spare part. I have the team, I have the car. I have everything going my way. So if I can't win now, I can't get laid in a whorehouse with a handful of $100 bills. I mean, I just gotta give up. But this is my best shot. And it was, you know, thinking about, I didn't want to go out like that. Didn't want to go out.
Winning takes a package.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. You take Ryan Martin's team. Ryan's one of my closest best friends.
Yeah.
You take Ryan's team, he will never win another MPK race until he finds the right team again. Robin Roberts, his team, his car. It's not just about money. It's the whole package. I've never had the entire package at one time. We've had part of the package. We've been close to the package.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get that package. Once you get that, then it's hard to beat a good team. The team is more important than the driver will ever be.
Yeah.
I got one job. I got to cut a light and I got to do this. And I got to know what to do if something goes wrong with the car. The driver is the least important part of a winning team. I'm telling you, I don't give a shit. All the guys that talk about, oh, he can drive, I can drive a car better than 90% of the fucking people out there. I can drive that bitch against the wall to win. I will take it through the lights sideways with the parachutes out to win. But without that team, and once you get that team and everything comes together, it's the best feeling in the world.
So what's the goal?
Right now we're finishing the car up. Our plan is we're going to be at Cordova.
Okay.
We're going to go up to Cordova. We're going to do the thing about me coming back. And to be perfectly honest with you, I want to see how fast everybody really is. There's a lot of cars out there, dude. I have no idea who those
Have you
people
been keeping up with
Absolutely not. Not one thing.
Not at all.
None.
You have no idea what's
Robin
going on.
Roberts. Robin Roberts and Ryan, that's it.
That's all you know.
I couldn't tell you. Stacy told me the other day, blah, 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 blah. And I said, who the fuck is that? I don't recognize half those people.
I'm not gonna
But
lie.
no, I have not watched one. I haven't. Think about it, Mike. I was on that show for 6 years. I never watched the damn show till I got pissed off.
I'm not gonna lie. A lot of new faces this year. Faces that I haven't seen in the past, but they're here now, and they've proven already in the short amount of time that they belong, or at least can be very competitive at these races. One of them is Eric Cavillahog from Team California. He has the Chaos Corvette. You're not familiar with this car, but he is way up there in the points, of right next to Ryan in the #1 spot. People like this came just this year. They didn't race with
Because they were all prep track racers. That's why.
Now, when you say that, isn't there an advantage to people like you who've done so much street stuff compared to a prep racer? Given the track conditions.
You know, it's hard to say, Mike, because, and this is no slam on true no prep. When you and I started doing no prep together,
Ooh,
it was true no prep.
There are a lot of complaining about the no prep.
And here's the thing. I'm gonna piss half the people off, but I always do anyway. I always piss off half, make half of them happy. But here's the reality of no prep racing. No prep racing, why you and I started doing what we started doing with no prep, was that every car had the same advantage for the first couple rounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those things that, you know, there's been all this bullshit talk about prep and re-prep. Fuck all that. That's all bullshit. The best way to do them, you know how you and I do them. We don't scrape the track. We don't touch the track. Nobody goes down the track the week of. We scrub that thing as clean as we can get it, and we send them with a water burnout. And can't go past the line.
And it's a very difficult to go up there and run the times that you want to run, not knowing how well your car is going to perform given the track conditions. And that's why, up to this point, there's been several crashes. And you're right, most of the crashes, the fans may or may not know that we've had this season has literally been at the back end.
Tell me how many crashes you've ever seen before 300 feet.
It's rare. It's rare. I can't even think of one recently, unless it's like not a non-big tire car. I've seen small tire cars, but then again, they don't have wheelie bars. They have a small tire, stuff like that.
Here's the thing that the back end of the track comes right back to coefficient drag of the tire versus the surface it's on.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do to the track. The whole idea behind no prep, my whole theory with no prep was to bring it as close to the street as it would be. And my big thing and why I worked my ass off for this no prep deal, because it gave the fans a chance to come see what we really do. Because you can watch that shit on TV all you want. Nobody realized how fast the cars of the 405 were until they actually came to an NPK race.
You know what? I don't hear any complaining when I'm at an event and they say, oh, Chuck Seitzinger, he looked really slow. No, you see the car in person, that little small block is angry in the first 60 feet. It's completely angry. Actually, Chuck won the first No Prep Kings event ever at Bowling Green.
Yeah.
It was a true no prep, and everybody freaked out. The temperatures were maybe freezing.
Oh, it was cold.
It was cold. That's all I remember. And Chuck, that car was the only car that actually blasted through the 60 foot. And I looked at that car and I'm like, how's he doing this? I just saw 16 other cars literally blow off their tires, and this guy just literally looked easy. So it's interesting, yeah.
It's changed where now it's like radio versus the world. Radio versus the world, some people call it radio versus the wallet. Because at the end of the day, it takes money. It takes the only thing that is better than cubic inches is cubic dollars.
Cubic dollars, I love that. It
So-
should be a t-shirt.
Yeah, well,
Cubic dollars.
so it's like guessing the tree,
Yeah.
which I'm totally 1,000% against. But the rules are, if the red light don't go on,
Yeah.
so everybody has that same option. I've listened to people bitch about it, and I tell them, listen, everybody has that same option when you pull up there.
I bring Chuck up because online people say, like the 405 are slow. It's all TV, it's all smoke and mirrors, and Chuck is the slowest on there, or like he's one of the slowest ones. And then when they see him in person, in that car, now you're talking about a small block. Now you go up to like Ryan or Murder Nova or like even.
Nova's got a small block.
Does he really?
Yeah, but it's a big small block. It's a small block.
But
When No Prep King started, everybody felt like they should have a spot in there. Alex fucking Laughlin, that chump. Everybody thought they deserved a chance. They didn't do what we did. Go out and risk our cars, risk our license, risk our lives to build that into what it was. Now, and I came onto it after the show had started.
No Prep Kings is a whole different ball game. It's hard to see your street cars. I call them street cars just because you race.
We all have pro mods now.
You race.
Let's just clear this up. A 25-1 chassis is a 25-1 is a 25-1. Doesn't matter what's wrapped around it.
Yeah.
They're all pro mods.
But you put it on the street. They're street race cars.
Yes.
And a lot of people wouldn't do that.
And that was my biggest problem with everybody feeling like they were entitled to come on to NPK, because you remember what the first season.
Yeah.
Couldn't get 32 cars.
Yeah. No.
We're told we were fucking idiots for even asking people to come. I mean, I'm making phone call after phone call after phone call. Hey, come on out here, try it. Fuck you, that's stupid. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. But once it took off, now everybody wants to be a part of it.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir. I used to get backlash on the internet about how it's run, the series in
Stupid,
general.
it's dangerous, and you
Risking
guys are
lives.
idiots. Same thing they said when the show came out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same shit they said. Look, the biggest boost that the 405 show ever got was when NHRA, them dumbasses, they put the biggest boost to it they could. When they said, oh, if you got an NHRA license, well, fucking no, nobody had a license.
They gave
There for years, I'm the only one that had a license on that fucking list for years.
NHRA gave no prep racers not only a class to
Street
race
racers. Street racing back then, they was just totally against it.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because do you know how NHRA came about?
I do. I'm familiar with the history and
Bunch of street racers
that got together.
That couldn't one more ticket and they'd lose their car and their license for life. Started racing at a road that was sanctioned.
And that's the interesting part, is the fact that the 405 is transitioning from a street scene where they're so dominant and go onto a track surface where track racers are coming in, and you're competing against track racers who have been dominating for years. Now they have to tangle with people like Ryan Martin, Murder Nova, Doc is looking pretty strong as of late as well. The 405 is not only showing that they can run fast on the street, but now at the track. Where do you think this is going to be going from here if they are showing track racers up?
Well, it's down to the point now it's about money.
Yeah.
And that's something street racing's never been about.
But
Used to be back in the day, I never had no money growing up. Never had no money.
yeah,
When I raced that Nova, $100, $200 street race would have me shaking like a dog shit Pete sees. I was thinking, I ain't gonna pay my bills, I lose. So I would drive that car way past where I should have. A surface that will hold that car the entire way. So now you're coming into a surface that will hold a car that entire way. To the best point. When you and I 10 years ago was talking about no prep racing, and I was racing Reaper back then, I never would have in a million years dreamed that people would be on a no prep surface, be around 380s, 390s.
It blows my mind. I never thought it was going to get to that point, but now I'm thinking there's so many people that are trying to get to that point, have the means, resources to get to that point. Does that mean all the street racers that the fans have come to love and know, will they be pushed to the back?
Absolutely. Because now it's turning into a money game. And I personally, I make a very, very good living. That's what I do. I work my ass off,
You do.
but I make a good living. But will I spend, I promise you, I will never spend $350,000 to go racing on a car. Never gonna happen in my life.
Yeah.
Because that's a home. That's another piece of property. That's me a bigger shop. There's just, and that's what it's gonna come down to. Just like radio versus the world. I mean, look at that deal.
Yeah.
When that deal first started, and every radio fag in the world is gonna pull up their blanket a little tighter tonight next to their wife. I was amazed what these guys were doing with those tires.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is so fucking cool. But then the cars, it's just like the cars on the show. The day the exhaust turned out of the fenders, no longer street cars. Back when it first started, Reaper was a 10.5 Outlaw car, so it had a factory front end under it. I mean, it was, I could legitimately drive that car on the street.
Yeah.
It's to the point now that none of those cars could be drove anymore. And to me, that has sucked all the fun out of it. Because it's like having a 12-inch dick that won't get hard.
Yeah.
What purpose does it serve? In my head. Everybody else says, hey, but I can go run 370s. Yeah, but what fun's that? I have more fun in that car than I ever have in the other ones. Because I go drive it. I can take Brantley for a ride.
Because you could beat faster cars than you in that car on the street.
Because that car don't spin a tire. That car leaves like a bullet on any surface. But that's the part of no prep racing, and it's just going to keep evolving.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to see happen, let's make all the cars weigh actual weight. Let's put a minimum weight, 3,000 pounds on all of them. Let's make everybody drive them.
Yeah.
Let's make them drive them. Now that would be cool. Because then they're legitimate street cars.
Man, you always have these ideas that at first people may think they're extreme or just dumb, right? But when you see it in person and you're watching racing, and it makes sense. Because when
you've seen stuff you and I talked about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's now very popular shows.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what is the fun part about no prep. What attracted me to no prep, I was a street racer before I even did national no prep. I literally would go out every Thursday night at my hometown and do street racing. We weren't the fastest people on the planet, but we had our fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the unpredictability. I would beat cars that I knew they had more money than me in their cars. They were way faster. They ran a 9-second at the track, and I'm over here with a low 11-second Mustang, and I would beat them on the street. Why? Because that's where I did all my racing. Now, No Prep Kings, if everyone's running a certain weight class, I feel, me personally, I don't know, I want to get your opinion on this, does that make it a bracket racing
Absolutely.
scenario?
Now, all of it is now. Now it's not. Street racing there's always been one rule of street racing that everybody in this world has forgot. Run what you brung and hope you brought enough to win.
That's what I love about
That
it.
has always been the rule of street racing.
Yeah.
When the weights got into NPK, you know what the first year of NPK, there was 5 rules.
Yeah.
There was 5 rules. It was real simple.
Yeah, there were great rules, by the way. It was 5 easy rules.
I thought they were. There were 5 simple rules.
Yeah.
And the guy that turned around and built a super light, super fast car, he won.
Yeah.
The guy that came out with a heavy car and tons of horsepower, it wasn't about. It was just about trying to build the fastest car you could to go down that surface.
Yeah.
Well, now the surface has changed. The racetracks have changed. Everything has changed to the point where it's right back to being a money game. And the money game is a hard game to play. It's a hard game for the real diehard guys that are working in their garage, building their own shit, that would love to come out and do what we do, but they can't.
Are you hopeful for the future? I am talking in terms of the Red Reaper. Are you going to be a continuation in No Prep Kings and go for a championship? Are you hopeful
I
that
can't say.
it's too early?
I can't say.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. One, we're supposed to be at our first race with the car is going to be in Virginia. If that car don't run what I think it needs to run,
Yeah.
if I don't think I can win, I will not be at Virginia. I will not bring that car out. I will not bring that car out and step on my dick till I know I got a car that'll win. That's one thing. 2, back to Tyree's rule. If I don't have fun at it, this will be the last time anybody sees me in NPK.
And that's unfortunate because
It's got to be fun, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I got into racing for.
Yeah.
Because it was fun. It was the challenge. It was that testosterone. It was that drive. It was that I will fucking beat you. And like I've told everybody, give me the rules up front. Don't change the rules and I will win. It's when they change the rules halfway through, that's not racing. That's trying to get an advantage. And everybody, I'm one of them stupid ass people that I'm not going to try to bend the rules my way. I'm going to bend it to what in my head I think is fair.
Yeah.
Whether it's your way or Stacy's way, Ryan's way, Robin's way, I want to be fair about it, because at the end of the day, nobody should have an advantage. The advantage should come from hard work. And that's what this is. That's what racing's gotten away from.
do you believe No Prep Kings with all the weights? It's just, in my head it makes sense. If you put weights on everyone, is to limit them on how fast they could run. So in theory, everyone is running about the same time, so it could be closer racing. Do you believe that in No Prep Kings, somehow, some way, the people that do a lot of street racing, and those type of people I call outlaws, it could be not only the 405, there's people in Detroit that do street racing very frequently, people in the East Coast, in Texas for sure. Do you believe these people that do street race, they're very few? These outlaws do not exist, and this is the reason why NPK is the way it is, because we can't get enough outlaws.
It's real easy to go to a safe, controlled condition and go fast.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing to pump these up and put it on the line on the street. Now, is street racing safe? It's as safe as driving down the highway to me.
Yeah.
Now, I don't agree with these street races where there's 300 fucking people. back when I street raced, this is how you set up a race. You'd be cruising through town, and if I seen your Mustang coming, I wanted to race you, I'd throw the car up neutral. Wow! If you went pow back, that's a done deal. That's a set up race. We need to figure out where we're going and how much we're racing for. That's not the case anymore. I have said it for years. I will race anybody on the street for any reasonable amount of money. And if they want to get stupid, we get stupid with money. But I'm going to take them out to a street that, and I'll do it in that car, I'll do it in any car, except Red Reaper. I made myself a promise I would not take that car on the street, because I'm not going to take a chance on somebody else hitting me or me wadding that car up, because you've heard me say it for years. Nobody loves James like James loves James except Brantley. And the car's too fast for the street. There's not a street that'll hold these cars anymore.
Yeah.
But of all the years of me saying that, everybody says, well, bring it here, or come there.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
that.
not how that works. If you want a shot at the title, come to me and do it. So yes, it's a dying thing for cars that are that fast. But, as you well know, there's a group of guys right here in Oklahoma City
Oh,
that
yeah.
race every weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm well aware.
They're tearing them streets up every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Street racing will never die.
Yeah.
There will always, as long as there is an engine that makes something move, people are going to race it. They're going to try to make it faster.
Yeah.
And we all got away from where our roots are. I like to think that I haven't, because I will race this car. I will race my truck. I'll race either one of those trucks.
What about this bike, the Reaper bike?
I will actually race that bike against another Harley.
I love.
Actually, I would rather race that pink one that I got down that shop.
Really?
Oh, that pink was a bad bitch.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's a badass bike.
Wow.
That thing is like, you have to hook one foot underneath a peg before you throttle into it, because it'll jerk you off the bike.
That's the
Stupid
thing.
fast.
That's the thing about talking to you. You are an outlaw by definition. You are.
Let me clear something up. I did not go to prison for singing too loud in church. I know a lot of people believe that, but that is not true.
I mean, you and the rest of the 405 and everywhere across America, there's outlaws, but these outlaws do not go to tracks.
Right.
And these outlaws, I believe, are not in MPK because they believe maybe the surface is too good. Now, in your mind, when you were racing MPK, do you feel the surface was just too good or just right?
Here was the thing, where I always had the advantage with Reaper, the worse the surface was, the better that car worked.
Yeah.
So you take a car that is 100% set up for the street, and you take it to a racetrack, everything has to change. Everything has to change. And then you get into the horsepower game. And that horsepower takes money.
Yeah.
So you take, that's the bad part about this. It's taken everything. It's taken the work out of it.
Yeah.
Horsepower, phone call. I call Scott Duggins right now. Scott, crate me up a motor that'll make 2,500 horsepower, and that motor will be sitting right here in a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't used to be like that. It used to be you had to work for it. You had to. Money has destroyed everything in this world that's good and holy, to me. It's good and wholesome. I should say wholesome instead of holy. But everything that's good and wholesome has been destroyed by money, because the other guys they can't be a part of it, and that's no fun. Because who are you outrunning? Are you racing the man? Are you racing his ability? Or are you racing his wallet?
Who are you racing this year?
Do what?
Who are you racing this year?
I am racing for the fans, Mike.
Yeah.
Seriously. You take the 300,000 people that follow me out of the equation, you'd never see me back at a race.
Yeah.
You take her, my brothers, you. I mean, the people that are behind me will ride to the end of the earth with me.
Yeah.
And there's nobody, I mean, I'm always the underdog. I'm always the guy that's having to try to, now, at least I have changed the perception of me not being the asshole that I was always portrayed to be.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of an asshole. I'm not a hardcore asshole, evidently. But I'm doing this more for everybody else than I am for me. Because at the end of the day, I would much rather be out racing that car right there on the street.
No, I know that. And I mean, the fans know you built the cars that you race.
Yep.
So
I've
when
never bought a car to race.
when they see you at NPK, they're not gonna see a shiny brand new car that you bought at a race shop. They're gonna see what you, your brothers, and your incredible team has come up with, and watch it race. And that's the amazing part of the whole deal.
You know, when they kicked this car off the day they got her, that was a hard moment for Farm Truck that people don't know.
Yeah.
That was a hard thing for him. Because like he said in that driver, he's the only guy that built the car.
Yeah, you're the only one. Yeah.
And we built that car from what it was. It was a pro touring car with slammed on the ground and 17s and built the handle and air conditioning. We took it from that to that in 4 days.
4 days.
4 days. 4 days.
A lot of people don't have that drive.
You know, that, and that's the other thing. The part of me that does want to do this, I never shut my brain off. So I sleep 2 or 3 hours a night. As soon as my brain fires up, I'm awake and I can't go back to sleep. The one time that I always found peace was for that 4 seconds when I do this. Or when I'm out in that car and I turn loose of that foot brake. That's the times I don't think about nothing else. And that's a good place to be. That's a good place to be.
Well, I wish you luck in racing the new Red Reaper. I'm excited to see it run. The fans are super excited to see you come back and shake things up. And it's what I want to see is just to see another face added to the competition and see how that stirs up the pot. It's going to be
really, Mike, let's be real here. What you want to see is when I go back, I was going to drive a red hot poker up a whole bunch of people's ass because I'm coming back.
Well, I mean,
Because they would much rather me never be back. Because I heard a little story. I heard a little story the other day that there was, I guess there's a Q&A thing where Boosted asked questions and somebody asked him, hey, where's Reaper? And he avoided that question like the plague.
I don't know.
I hear these stories. Oh, my private messages, there's people that sends me the updates of every that's going. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna put him out. There's one guy that sends me who's racing who's doing what the arguments were. I mean, he sends me everything in a private message.
That seems like a lot of drama.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. I'm not going to a team.
Ah, why is that?
I have friends out there. Just like when that wasn't my idea to do that team thing. I did that for all those guys to get more TV time. That's a fact, and because I was asked to do it. But that's why I avoided the camera.
Yeah.
To try to get them to focus on the Brooders and Dean and Axeman and all the guys that were on there, because they're the ones that need the TV time. They get the TV time. They get help with the parts. They get help with parts. They get sponsors. It helps them. It helps them to be faster. So what backfired with me was the fact when I'm avoiding that camera and I'm saying, hey, I'm busy. Well, that gave others the opportunity to get everybody to talk shit about me.
Mm.
So I'm going back for my fans, my family, and me. Not going back to race with anybody. I mean, Robin Roberts is one of my closest friends. Ryan Martin is one of my closest friends. The Brooders and Jack. I mean, they're all those guys are like family to me. But I'm not racing on a team.
Well,
I'll stand on my own 2 feet. I'll race my car my way. And win, lose, or draw, I'm going to do it my way.
you always do it your way. And we are all excited to see your return. And we'll catch you on the race.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll be at Cordova this weekend, and we plan on having the car. We're real close on the car. Get some testing done. If the testing goes like I think it's going to, we'll debut the car at Virginia.
Sounds great. Well, we're all excited, and I'll see you when I see you in the race.
Mike, you're looking awful tired all of a sudden.
You gotta be fast enough to catch him at the race.
Hey, here's the thing. Nobody has to try to chase Reaper to get his autograph now.
No, they don't.
That is true. you'll be at the finish.
Because you know that was a big game for a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't find you. Like,
Everybody was like, "Hey, Jet Reaper 6,
you,
he's here." So
you would be in the trailer getting parts, or going to the store getting parts, or trying to go get parts.
that is the one thing I'm really looking forward to. Be able to actually stand out there and talk to them and be under no pressure. I have never had the opportunity, even when my brothers were helping me. I never had the opportunity to go up there with a clear head and race that car. Now, it may not work as good as I think it's going to, so I may have to pick a fight with Stacy or something before the race.
Come on, man.
Stacy's like, "Hey, I get enough of that on my hump."
I can do that all by myself.
But I'm the closer it gets to the actual date and the closer the car gets, the more excited I get.
Well, I'm excited. We're all excited, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one.
We'll see what happens.
I just didn't know.